Welcome. I want to thank you for participating in our educational short about using dreams. We decided to do a short on using dreams because it's a phenomenon that doesn't need a ton of education, not a ton of research. It's really a lot about what people have reported in their recovery, what they experience, and how these things change over time. But it's definitely something that people have not really understood themselves as they go through the recovery process, and definitely not something that family members or loved ones understand. And often loved ones can see using dreams as a red flag for relapse, when really using dreams can be a tool for understanding the recovery process and can often actually give you hope for the recovery process rather than worrying about relapse and seeing it as a red flag. So what is a using dream? So using dream can be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. There's obviously no exact science as far as dreams are concerned, and I am certainly not a dream expert, but I do know how using dreams impacts people in recovery. And so a using dream is when somebody who is working on sobriety, whether it be a chosen sobriety because they want to get sober, or a sobriety that's been forced on them because of the legal system or because family has kind of given an ultimatum. Either way, using dreams play out similarly. It just depends on where the person is at with how they want to get sober, if they want to get sober. So using dream is when somebody is in the process of getting sober and they dream about their drug of choice. Now, there, of course, can be circumstances where people might have a cross-addiction dream. So let's say your drug of choice is marijuana and you're staying sober from all substances, but then your using dreams start to be alcohol, maybe because it's so socially acceptable and everywhere you go, that's what's in your face. And it's hard for you to, accept the triggers of the alcohol, whereas maybe avoiding marijuana is a little easier than it is to avoid the alcohol. So sometimes people will have using dreams about other substances, especially if they are trying to obtain absolute sobriety across the board and work an actual recovery program. But we're going to talk about using dreams in regards to mostly the substance of choice. So what kind of happens with these using dreams is people's using dreams tend to change with them in their recovery process. So let's say you have somebody who is very new to sobriety and has only been sober maybe a week or so. And while they want sobriety, they still have some of that ambivalence because they still miss it. And it's hard to stay sober even though they want to be sober. Their using dreams can look like, they're dreaming about using their substance of choice and they're really enjoying it and they miss it a lot. And it's a really good experience. And then when they wake up, there's this bit of panic because they actually feel like they've used in the dream. So if you have somebody who's in early recovery and they're having using dreams where they're using and they're talking to you about this, that just means their body hasn't fully accepted the fact that they're sober yet. And they're still going through a post-acute withdrawal, which won't be discussed today, but definitely in one of our psychoeducation courses. But if they're going through a post-acute withdrawal or immediate withdrawal, their body is going to be craving that substance. And so they're going to have this desire in their dreams to use, but when they wake up, it's kind of this panic because the using dreams can be so intense that they actually feel like they're using. For someone who continues to work a recovery program and actually obtains abstinence, what we've discovered over the years is that people's using dreams will change with them in their recovery. And so what will happen is, in early recovery, they'll have an experience, as I just explained, where they use, they enjoy, they seek it out, they follow through, and then they wake up kind of in a panic. But as they get more sober, we've noticed that the using dreams can change with their sobriety. And so as someone gets further along in their sobriety and has more acceptance of their sobriety and their body is healing in their sobriety, then their using dreams can change. And so they go from using in the dream to enjoying it, to using in the dream and not enjoying it in the dream, and having that guilty conscience and understanding that they've relapsed in the dream. And then it can move into seeing the substance of choice and wanting to use it, but not resisting the urge to use that substance in their dream. And then even to moving into having the option of the substance in their dream and not wanting it anymore, walking away without that desire or that temptation. And so as somebody gets more sober and or more sobriety time, I should say, as they get more sobriety time and as they learn more about themselves and they heal whatever is going on with them, either a past trauma, or maybe they're an adult child of an alcoholic or someone who was addicted, whatever their stuff is that comes with their addiction. Maybe it's mental illness, maybe they have a co-occurring disorder that they're working on, maybe they're healing their mental health disorder as well. But as that goes on, then their dreams will change with them. And it's kind of this amazing occurrence that you can watch people go through, because when they come in at first and they tell you about their using dreams, it's kind of like this despair, and why did I have this using dream, and I do want to work on recovery, and why did I like it so much in my dream? And it's important for loved ones and for us as their therapists to say, that's normal, you're fine, you're doing great, this is a normal part of the process. And I don't want loved ones to get confused and think that that's like the subconscious of them going into relapse mode. And in fact, the more we allow people in recovery to talk about their using dreams, the less likely they are to use, because part of the process is talking and being open and not keeping secrets, because our secrets keep us sick. And so if somebody's keeping in this despair and anxiety over a using dream, that can build red flags towards relapse, rather than openly talking about it, accepting it for what it is, and understanding that it's a normal part of this process. So what happens to people who actually do find themselves in a slip or a relapse? Well, dreams can change with that too. You might find that people who, right before they had a slip or a relapse, they actually started, their using dreams started changing before this event happened. So where they may have gotten to the point where they saw the substance, they didn't use it, then maybe their dreams start to change into they saw the substance and they did use it in the dreams. And then that can be around the time of where their slip or their relapse might happen. And so these using dreams will very consistently, although not to an exact science, will very consistently change with where people are at in recovery and where your loved ones are at in recovery. And so this is something that's really important for the person trying to get sober or the person struggling with addiction to understand. It's really important for the immediate support system around them, especially the people they live with, to understand, so that it can be part of this open discussion and part of the healing process, and not cause further guilt or shame in the recovery process, because I don't think it's a secret to anybody that guilt and shame is a huge part of what will feed the addiction in your loved one. And so I want to offer hope today by letting you know about what these using dreams are about, so that you can make that part of your process with your loved one who might be healing, and understand that there's nothing wrong with using dreams, and it's expected, especially as the body is healing, and especially as the mind is changing and the process is changing and they're learning more about themselves or they're healing from the trauma. And so we expect this process to take place, but we need to make sure that we normalize it. That is the most important lesson I think we can take away today, is that normalizing using dreams will make this process easier. So that's kind of the basics on using dreams. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to it. I just want to make sure that you know about it. And I hope that you will be encouraged that if you have a loved one who is trying to get sober or in recovery, that you will allow them to have this open discussion with you and allow it to be part of the process, and allow them to have a little less guilt and shame, so that you guys can all move forward and continue to work on living healthier lives. We will see you again soon. Thanks for joining us.